Hello, my name is John Holman. I'm chairman of the Board of Trustees and the director of the Northeast Texas Rural Heritage Museum in Pittsburg. And we're out here south of Newsom in a sweet potato field with farmer Steve Hudnall, who's going to demonstrate his Howard rotary digger to us in just a few minutes. But before we do that, let me ask the son of the inventor of this famous Pittsburgh product just a few questions. This is H.B. Shorty Howard, Jr. His father invented this machine about when, Shorty? Tell me a little bit.
1947.
Say that again.
1947.
1947. And about how many of them did he make, and how long was he in business?
We made a little more than 500. We bought enough material to make 500 and some extras, and we made those.
And you shipped them all over the country?
Yeah, you might say the South.
All over the South. The South was the sweet potato growing part of the country.
Right.
And when Mr. Howard's potato house burned about 1947 or 48, or Shorty, do you remember the exact date?
I believe it's 47. Yeah.
In 47, that probably put an end to the manufacturing process. But the museum does now have 3 of these diggers, one the gift of Mr. Howard and 2 others that we picked up from local farmers who no longer use them. But we're very excited about being here today with Steve Hudnall, who is a local boy. Steve and his family have been in Kemp County as nurserymen and agricultural people for many, many years. And Steve, how long have you had this particular Howard digger, and where did you get it?
Well, I bought this in 1980 from Leo Bachman. I bought one of his tractors and all his equipment, and this came. I got 2 of them at the time of the purchase. So I've had this right at 10 years. About 10 years, and Leo Hoffman, of course, was one of the big potato growers back in the 50s and 60s in Kemp County also. Now, lean over here and just tell me briefly how this machine works. Well, this moldboard plow here goes in the ground.
That's the plow down at the bottom.
And when it goes in the ground, it makes the potatoes start to come over this way. And this part back here is when potato comes up here, this sort of turns around and sort of lays the potatoes up on the side there where they're easy to get out of the ground there. You can sort of see some of them shining.
I see. Does it pull them off of the vine?
No, it doesn't pull them off the vine. Somebody else has to do that.
All right, but it does turn them up to the surface, and the digger turns from the forward motion of the plow and the dirt being thrown up on the plowshare, which is the big shiny piece that you're looking at the back of down at the bottom. Okay.
John, the dirt on the bottom of the furrow is what comes over on top of the potatoes when this plows them up without the digger on it. And that's what covers them up.
I see.
This lets some of the dirt sift out, you know, as the dirt turns over, leaving the potatoes on top.
All right, so there now you have the rationale for the digger and why it was a very successful invention back in the early 1940s. And now we will let Mr. Hudnall crank the tractor up, and if he will slowly move forward a little bit, we will demonstrate how this machine works. Shorty, you hold on to this. Shorty.
Huh?
Now step back.
What I want to say. What's going on? You notice the dirt going through the spiral as he moves along. The potatoes that are not exposed are very much easier scratched out of the ground than they are if all that dirt is piled on top of them. Of course, the production of potatoes right here is not great, therefore you don't see too many potatoes. When you have better production, you have more potatoes exposed. Exposing potatoes here, what we have, the production is not too great right here. And if we had more production, there'd be more potatoes exposed. We developed this digger back in 1947, and we got the idea from a dirt moving terracing machine, actually. And from that machine, we got the idea that if we had a machine that would sift dirt from the bottom of the furrow, and that's the dirt that would cover the potatoes up when you plow up with a moldboard plow. We got together and developed this digging machine, and it proved out to be real successful. My dad had been in the business a long time. In fact, he went in the business back in 1902, along in there. And we were over in Central Texas, where we lived, and they developed an industry in Camp County and didn't know too much about the business. So that was 1916. And they contacted Dad and got him to come over here and go in business with them, because everybody had a patent potato house in those days. The government and other people promoted them, and they didn't know how to run them after they got them built. So Dad came over and went in business with Mr. Wirt Stewart and Sam Goldberg in 1918. From there, they got in pretty heavy, and the black rot got pretty bad. So Mr. Goldberg was in other businesses, and his business got in bad shape, and the bank forced them to get rid of Mr. Sam. So wound up with Wirt Stewart and my dad operating until 1936, when my dad sold out to Mr. Stewart. And of course he stayed in the business because we had gone to Arkansas and were farming in the Delta, raising quite a few potatoes. But the business was actually early a railroad shipping business. And we were primarily shippers. Dad and Mr. Stewart traveled the Southwest shipping iced potatoes, peaches, and tomatoes and other things. But sweet potatoes were the main business. Dad was known as one of the best potato growers in this part of the world.
And how long did that last, Shorty? How long was that produce and shipping out of Kemp County really good?
Well, it was good until the trucks came.
I see,
of course,
the highways.
Yeah, when trucks came in, it stopped the railroad business, pretty much. Of course, long distance hauling was done with railroads until after World War II, really.
I want to show you just exactly what you can grow in sweet potatoes in Kemp County. I know, Steve, that these are a little bit overly large.
They're jumbos.
They're called
Yeah.
jumbos, but just look at these that were just dug by this digger as we took these pictures here. And we're going to take a couple of these up and put them in the museum window. Okay, Steve? Shorty, did you ever ship any that big?
Yeah.
You did?
And larger.
And larger?
But really, that's...
Oh, and larger.
They're really cold.
I thought maybe Mr. Hudnall was putting some high-priced fertilizer on these.
I did put some high-priced fertilizer.
Did put some high-priced fertilizer. Okay, Steve, we want to thank you for putting on this demonstration for us today and for the museum, and want to thank Shorty for coming out. You got more. This is what he's showing here is something that's a little bit closer to the commercial size that everybody looks for and likes to have.
Yeah.
But fellas, we want to thank you all, and we appreciate out in the field, Steve, and we thank you very much for your help.